Something a little different, responding to two different videos at the same time on different sites. So one is Nick the Modern Mystic, and the other one is Broke Mech at Vloggerheads. And I'm really responding more to the comments on his video because people are really opposing this free will stuff, determinism stuff, and they're just so they're just so defensive of this idea that somehow they are they, you know, that somehow they truly earned what they are. They truly did something, that they somehow really had a real choice in their life somewhere, that there really was a real choice, that it could have gone either way. And no, it didn't happen. The universe is cause and effect. There's no spontaneous, you know, there's atoms and, you know, electrons and photons and pieces and whatever you want to call them, and they're all on a trajectory, and they don't do something magical, and they don't hop around to make you make a different decision. It just doesn't fricking happening. You know, it was all ordained 15 billion years ago, or whenever the universe did its thing, and this is the way it has to play out. And that doesn't defeat anything. That the part of the argument that pisses me off is when people assume that somehow that defeats something or changes the fact that this is still important, and that we still have to think and we still have to be ourselves. And yes, ourselves will either be defeated by such a notion, or ourselves will figure out that, well, it doesn't matter whether I'm reading a script or not, the fact that I can't see the script. All right, because it's inside my subconscious. I can't read it ahead of time. I can't do anything with it. So how does it affect anything? It doesn't change a motherfucking thing. I still have to go through the process, and the reading is happening with, you know, it's coming out of my mouth, but I'm not reading the script. My brain is performing the script. And so really, see, my problem with Nick's video is just that now you know, I can see eliminating the I, okay? There's no I don't do something, it's my brain, me brain. All right, but now he wants to eliminate me and you, okay? He wants to take me and you out of this. And that's, to me, idiotic, because we have borders, we have a confinement, we can see our complexity like we can see a galaxy or we can see a moon, and we can identify it. So I mean, that's just getting ludicrous when you start blending us all into some, you know, it's just universe being universe. Of course it is, but the universe has definable shapes and things in it, and we can identify them and give them a name and specify it's that brain and not that brain, and it's that brain or it's that brain. But there's no point in saying there's no difference between all the that's, because there certainly are, especially when it comes to consciousness, which is uniquely manifest in individuals. It does not manifest in all of us at the same time. We don't feel the same thing. No, we're individuals that feel. And feelings are a little, you know, it's complex, because it's a manifestation of this physical universe, and that's growing on it, but it doesn't have a physical reality. It has a reality, but it's not a physical reality. It's a meaningful reality. It has a place in the realm of meaningful, but it doesn't have a place in the realm of physical. It's just a manifestation of physical. All right, so you know, I don't want to get into the subject of consciousness and how it's formed and all that stuff, because that's a whole nother subject. But just to know that, yeah, everything is happening through our consciousness. All the subconscious crap is programming, it's reflexes. And I mean, it's just so obvious. You know, you can't fly a plane unless you learn how to fly a plane. Okay, I mean, that's just the way it is. You have to, the universe has to inform you of the mechanism and how it works, and your brain has to absorb all of that information and possess it, and possess the right reflexes to perform the function of making the plane land properly. And if you don't have that organization, if you don't have that software, you're not going to be able to do it right. You're likely going to crash and burn. And so it's the same way with people making decisions about, okay, I have some impulse to desire, let's say, to kill or to do something negative, a social parasite type person. So the first difference between me and that person, or, you know, I'm making the example, or me and you in this case, would be that first I have that impulse, you don't have that impulse. So obviously the choice has now been changed. So the scales of choice in every brain are tilted in a different way based on what they innately desire. What they recognize, what skills they have. Do they know the golden rule? Okay, it's like more that airplane. How can they fly the airplane if they don't have the knowledge? So if you have certain things in your brain, certain weights of ethics and integrity and notions of conscience and guilt and those kind of things, well, then the scales are going to be balanced different in your brain than they will be balanced in some other asshole. And it doesn't mean you can't call that brain a piece of shit. Okay, it just means that you have to recognize that it's a piece of shit because the brokenness started from the very root. All right, it didn't start just today. It didn't become a piece of shit like spontaneously out of nowhere. All right, the flower didn't just bloom without the plant and the bud. No. Okay, it took the whole process. It was a created thing through billions of years of atoms flying through an ether, and that's how they consolidated and coalesced in that form that was capable of producing that evil or that nastiness or that stupidity. But there was nothing. It couldn't have been any other way. There's no other, unless you changed an event in the past. You can't undo what it is, what it's disposed to do, what it will do, the choices it will make. So, you know, everything we are, as much as we like to take credit for ourselves, we're really just saying, yeah, my brain is programmed pretty well. You can say that to yourself. That's okay. Your brain can recognize that your brain is programmed well. Okay, it's got a good script. The script my brain is reading, I happen to be in the good little piece of the universe, the good little piece of the swirling mass that's doing good things. And so you're still legitimate in pointing to other swirls, other pieces of universe, and saying that's a shitty piece of the universe. So yeah, maybe instead of calling it a sociopath or using some other technical term, you could just say shitty piece of the universe. And so what we do about shitty pieces of the universe is there's two things. I mean, first you have to say it's only rational. We're just reading our airplane landing logic and saying, yes, I know how to fly an airplane, I also know how to build a society, and in a society you have to have, you know, punishment for bad behavior, or else the scales will balance wrong in people's heads and they'll have the wrong incentives and then they'll make the wrong choices. So if you make it legal to be a crook, well, then the scales are going to be balanced differently in people's heads. Okay, but there's nothing happening here that wasn't predetermined, and none of it has to do with choices. There's no real choice. Okay, there's just software running. Okay, that's it. Programmed software, cause and effect. Oh, I still got lots of time, 8 minutes. So I have to just stay under 11 so I can post this both at YouTube and vlogger shit heads. Anyway, look, so Lima, I'm specifically talking to me. She's mostly the one, being a pain in the ass in Broken Mech's comments. This ego thing just doesn't have any place. Okay, we're shitheads or we're good people, but there's no us to take credit for it. Okay, there's software running. Okay, and it's just you're either lucky or you're unlucky in terms of your individual consciousness. You're either part of the good swirl or the bad swirl, but you don't really get to have a choice. And as much as you think you chose to be a good person, you didn't choose, because you were exposed to information. You were exposed to information that made it impossible for you to crash the plane, because you knew, oh, there's passengers in the back. Well, some people don't get the passengers in the back part when they're living their life. They don't understand. When they look at the scales, they don't see the passengers in the back of the plane, and so they don't care. They'll take more risk because they don't see the implications of their actions. They don't recognize that your pain is just as valuable as theirs, and that they have no right to impose it on you. They don't get it, okay? They don't have the knowledge to live a rational, decent life, okay? Because the universe hasn't informed them, didn't give it to them. Or else the universe gave them a passion that overwhelmed everything else. They just saw red, and that's all they saw, and they couldn't see past their passion. They couldn't absorb any knowledge that would temper that revenge or that anger or that compulsion. They just couldn't do it. even if they might have had a glimmer of the right programming, a glimmer of, I know what I'm doing is wrong, it just wasn't strong enough because the passion was too strong. The balance, the scales weren't the same. So it's really stupid to have this concept that we're all walking around with the same scales in our heads, and so every decision that's different in somebody else is going to mean that they did on purpose, you know, or that they had some kind of choice and they chose to be an asshole. Well, they didn't. I mean, so the whole idea of punishment for anything other than deterrence is complete nonsense. It's revenge. It's no good. It serves no purpose. Yeah, we have a right to create in the swirl, or to read that script, to perform the inevitable function of refining our society. And so as time passes, we whirl into a better place because we gain more and more knowledge. We learn more and more about how to fly this fucking plane called life.